Hello, my good people. Welcome to the Nuggets of Wisdom by Sabana the Great. Now, if you've been following me keenly, then you must have realized that I'm very, very enthusiastic when it comes to matters marriage. Marriage is a very good thing. Marriage by itself is the best thing ever that someone can have. And for this case, a happy marriage. Marriage can be a good marriage or a bad marriage. And now, marriage by itself, on its own, is best. Now, the state of being a best marriage is determined by those who marry and by those who get married. So, here what we mean is that if people who are getting into that marriage are not good or best for each other, then the marriage that they're going to make becomes bad. And on the other hand, if people who are getting married get into a marriage and they are best for each other, then that marriage is going to become the best one. So marriage by itself is the best thing ever. But people who get into that marriage determines if that marriage which is best is going to remain that way or otherwise. So marriage by itself is the best thing ever. And let me tell you something. I know you might have understood or you might have heard people saying that it is not important for someone to get married. But I want to say this. Almost 70% of human beings want to get married and they want to marry. And they want to get married and marry into good marriages. So, marriage is a good thing. Very good thing. I can tell you for that, for free. Marriage is so very good. Now, I want to downplay the notion that marriage is not an achievement. I know you might have heard some motivational quotes. Some people say that you must not get married or marriage is not an achievement. But I want to downplay that notion or that concept and then tell you that marriage is an achievement. Now, look here. Marriage, I want you to look at this from the wisdom point of view. We have got successful marriages and failed marriages. Meaning, a marriage needs work and it needs commitment. So, the success or the failure of a marriage is determined by people who marry each other and the work and the commitment that they put in. Now, this one determines if it's successful or it fails. Meaning, if a marriage succeeds, then the people who are inside that marriage could have achieved the success. And the marriage itself, if it's successful, it becomes achieved. And on the other hand, if a marriage fails, it means these people who got into this marriage and then failed, they did not achieve. Meaning, there is success and failure in a marriage, and this qualifies it to be an achievement. In fact, I've said this, most people, around 70%, want to get into marriage, and they want to get into happy marriages, good marriages. People are struggling to find good partners, good people they can marry. Meaning it is work. It needs some commitment. And any process that needs some input, it means there's something you are aiming at. And that thing that you are aiming at, if you become successful and have it, it becomes an achievement. So this qualifies marriage to be an achievement. Do not listen to people. You know, these concepts, in most cases, comes from people who have gone to marriages or who have gotten to marriages, then those marriages fail. Now, when somebody fails in marriage, when they come out of that marriage, in most cases, they are discouraged and demoralized. And it is human nature. When you do not feel good about something, you do not talk about it, you do not talk good about it. So do not listen to people. Marriage itself is good. What you ought to do is this, and I do keep saying here, there are good people out there. There are good men, there are good women out there. Yours is to pray and then believe and then go out there, look for somebody who's good, somebody who's best for you. And I said, for you to get the best person for you, become best. So become good, become best, and you'll attract the best and the good. And in that way, you're going to get the right person for you and going to get the right marriage for you. Now, another thing I want you to know is this. But before I tell you that thing, kindly watch and subscribe. If you're watching me, kindly subscribe. Just click that button of subscription. Then we'll be good to go. I'll be so very glad for that. Another thing is this. When you are getting married to someone, you are not just getting married to this person. You are getting married to one, their dreams. You are getting married to their ambitions and goals. You are getting married to their family. And in this case, I mean extended family. You are getting married to their weaknesses and strengths. You are getting married to their flaws. You are getting married to their thought process, their thoughts. You are getting married to their emotions. You are getting married to their body. You are getting married to their energies. So everything that this person is, you are getting married into it. So when you want to get married, consider all these things I've talked about, because that is what you are getting into by yourself. Marriage is not just that person you are seeing. There are so many things. So you have to critically look at those things and then scrutinize them and then see if they really are what you want. Now, this comes down to my point. When you find somebody to get married to or to marry, I know the first thing which drives so many people is emotions. You become or you fall in love. You love that person. But before that sweetness of emotion is aroused, try to accompany that emotion with logic. Think through these things I've talked about. How do these people think? How do these people behave? How do they conduct themselves? That is very important. Make sure those two things are balanced. The emotion and the logic behind that emotion. That is very important. So when getting married to somebody, you do not just marry that person. You marry so many things about those people. And you need to think through those things with utmost degree of logic and then come into a conclusion that this person is the one. Because marriage is a project. Let me tell you something. And if you have got a project or if you have been in a project, you know what I mean. When you begin a project as a wise person, it is not wise to leave that project halfway. For example, you want to build a house, rent a house. You need to calculate and manipulate and look at that project from the initial stages up to the conclusion of that project. You must be able to come up with a plan and the resources which can be used from the beginning to the end, so that that project of yours is accomplished. So this thing is the same as marriage. When you get into marriage, you are getting into a project. And like a project, you do not need to leave a marriage halfway. It is not good. It is not good to leave your marriage. For those people who are spiritual, you know that God hates divorce. God hates failed marriages. In fact, according to the Bible, for those people who read the Bible, marriage is the first and the most sacred institution that was erected by God after creating these people. Then that marriage is the first institution that was instituted by God. So it is very important. Marriage is good. Now, when you get into marriage, do not think of getting out of that marriage. That is very important. So the nugget of wisdom for today is marriage is a good thing, but the goodness or the badness is determined by people who get into those marriages. So when you are making a choice of the person you want to get married to or you want to marry, be very conscious about who you are choosing as your partner. Number two, do not listen to people saying that marriage is not an achievement, because marriage is an achievement by itself. And the third nugget of wisdom is that when you are choosing your partner for marriage, apply logic. Know that you are not only marrying them, you are marrying their ideas, their concepts, their worldview, their thinking, their emotions, and all that. So be very careful. And this is what I have for you today. And from yours truly, Samananda the Great, that is the end. I'm gone.